Well, they say simply put, democracy can be defined as power by the people, for the people, and of the people. And of course, you look at the intricate part of the concept power, giving an act on who determines what, when, and how. And when the narratives begin to disclose itself, revealing itself in the political stream, where the courts will have to decide who gets what, when, and how, will have to decide the power that is resident and the people, the electorate, then we can say the narrative is changing. But what could be changing this whole issue? Basically, looking at the development across board and following up what has been happening in political parties, and then defections from one party to another by political actors and of course politicians, and of course the aspect of lack of party ideology and poor structural capacity that could also lead to them losing in court, and of course even the interpretation by the Supreme Court, where it also brought an issue concerning the nullification of the antebellum as earlier given by the appeal court to the parties. And of course, what does this judgment on the ADC, what does the judgment on the PDP by the Supreme Court, what does it mean in the future of political parties? And of course, we see situations where, you know, people are now leaving the party, moving to other parties to gain relevance. Well, could this be as a result of political survival, or just to provide choices for the electorate to choose from? Something transpired yesterday at the Abuja, the FCT, where, you know, some protesters on the edges of the northern Nigeria stakeholders came out en masse protesting with placards saying no opposition, no election 2027. President Tinubu, let democracy breathe in Nigeria. And of course, NGF, stay off politics. All of this again brings to the question, of course, to the podium, the issue about the integrity of our elections going forward. Of course, there have been different views about how 2027 is going to pan out. But with what we see here, the protest that also rocked the street of Abuja yesterday, and of course, does this mean well for our democracy? And what can we say of the 2027 elections? Well, political developments everywhere. Good morning. Big thanks for joining us. It's This Morning on ITV, and I am Philip Omo Gukbo, and I have my co-anchor with me, Anu Oluwapo Stevens. Good morning, Anu.
Good morning, Philip.
Well, it's been a long ride, and of course, I don't know how we're going to ride beyond this point to 2027, looking at what transpired in at the FCT, and of course, days back about the court judgments. What do you make of this?
Well, a lot of things happening at the moment. I feel like the political scene in Nigeria is actually heightened up. The tension is brewing, where every single day you do not know what would happen next, or the news that you would hear regarding, you know, politics and politicking in Nigeria. So after what we saw over the weekend with Peter Gregory Obi moving to the ADC, interestingly, yesterday we saw a group. They actually tagged themselves as under the aegis of the concerned Northern Nigeria stakeholders. They went out en masse to protest over what they call interference with the judiciary, and also INEC as well. That's the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, interfering with politics in Nigeria, and then they are saying, no, we do not want it. It is not how it should be done. Let's opposition parties in Nigeria breathe. And it was really great to see that we had that, you know, protest amount yesterday with persons who are also having their own fair share of what is currently going on in the country. And I'm also going to try to link it up with what Peter Obi said, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, in 2023, when asked his reasons or what he posted on his X handle. Some of the things that he mentioned: number one, the legal tussle with brewing up in the ADC, and he said something that also was striking, that it's not just a situation of the ADC. And I saw a clip where he did say that very, very soon, sooner than later, persons who were close to him would give the fuller picture picture of what really transpires to him leaving APGA down to PDP, to Labour Party, and of course ADC and now NDC. So, you know, trying to pick out what he said, and with the protest that went out yesterday, I think there's a bit of sense in what's really was the main ideology or the main reason why they did go out to protest yesterday.
Well, simply put, we want to question leadership in power, and of course those who want to also lead. You look at the challenges they face in a particular political party, and when they are unable to fix those challenges, they run away from the party and move to another party. Well, we're having some infectious disease here, where you may be wondering that it could be contagious to a point where even if you leave one party to another party, the infection may get at you in the next party. But what can leaders do? Is it just about leaving a party when you are faced with a challenge? Otherwise, that could resemble or give an impression that some just after all of this game, just for survival and not to produce competitive choices for the electorate. Well, a lot of things happening. Why some also believe that this could be machinations of the ruling party. But well, let's allow that to settle, and let's get your thoughts from our Lagos studio. Patricia Gabriel. Well, first of all, let's get to Abuja. Abuja is set, and we got Tolu over there in Abuja. Good morning to you, Tolu.
Wonderful morning to you, Philip, and also Anolu Akpo right there. And I'm really perturbed about what is really happening in the political landscape, especially when you put into consideration the lack of ideologies on the part of those who claim to be politicians. And that's really sad right there. Junketing from one political party to the other would not bode well for the future of democracy in this country. We must have politicians who are full of ideologies, who know what they want and how to go about it. When you go down memory lane to the 70s and early 80s, there are some certain section of the society they are noted for a particular identifying with a particular party. Go back to the eras of late Awolowo right there. You know the formation of the party they identify with, the ideologies, what they believe in. Down to early 90s when we have the SDP, NRC, and also we can be able to identify this particular party, these particular people can be identified with this particular party. But these days, the reverse is the case. People move from one party to another in the process of trying to remain relevant in the scheme of things. And that's really sad for our politics. That is my personal opinion. But I think going forward, we should have politicians who have ideologies, who believe in the ethos of particular parties and want to think or swim with it right there. And the situation where people just move forward for the sake of being relevant does not really make any sense to me. And I think what is really happening right now, we also be able to make other parties realize that you also must have people who have the right thinking, who have ideas of how they want to go to the party at the back of their mind. That way, they will not be pushed hither and thither like the way what is happening right now. Yeah, so many of them are complaining of being disenfranchised. Some are complaining of the government not wanting them. But you also look down to what they are really doing. How did they get to this place? What did they not do right? And these are some of the questions they should be asking themselves if they really want to move forward. And I think they should definitely address it. We need to start asking our politicians, what are your ideas? What do you believe in? How do you hope to really strengthen our democracy? If we can't stop talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So the fact that he has remained committed to a particular party over the years, even when he had the opportunity of jumping ship, but he decided to just stay and build his party. And it became a major rallying stop for so many people. And I think other party or politicians should also be thinking in that same light. People like Bukola Saraki, people like Peter Obi, they should have also let's build our own thing so we can continue to remain relevant and be able to give a run for the opposition. But unfortunately, they are not doing that. Let's hope that this will be a learning curve for them going forward.
You ask me, I'm not trying to raise opinions on the minds of the viewers, but I will tell you outside the questions of what policies they have to make things turn around, or what are they having as viable objectives to fix Nigeria and of course the economy. Again, my mind would go to the challenges that they are facing at present in political parties. Could be a starting point for us to see how crafty or how intelligent driven or how creative these politicians are. Most especially, we don't want to see a situation where at the face of any out of trouble, politicians move from that party to another party. And then when you see trouble being faced with in the other party, then you move again. So why can't you just sit down, fix the party, fix the challenges, and then let's see if that could be an extension for how you're going to fix the country, Nigeria. Well, those are my thoughts anyways. But let's get to you, Patricia Gebres from our Lagos studio. Good morning. You look beautiful.
Thank you, Philip. Good morning. Okay. It's easier said than done. Just like you said, sit in the party and fix the party. At this point, I want to say, can't we have a credible opposition party? And can't we have the opposition parties breathe? Because we also heard that Peter Obi and Kwankwaso moved to Enders, and we're all that echoes. Where this allow, politic in their own way, in the parties they have chosen to be. I mean, you can't just have all the opposition parties having issues in the courts, and then, we have just the ruling party not having court issues. It says a lot of things, if you ask me. I mean, let the opposition parties be able to put themselves together and, have a solid opposition party. You want to say Peter from one party, if you stand and ask him, open up to you the reasons why he did that. So for me, my opinion is allow us play politics, or allow Nigerians play politics the way it should be played. There should be opposition parties. It shouldn't just be a one-way politicking. I mean, having one party in the country. Let's have other political party options where people could go and say, okay, I want to vote for this personality, not even the party, because I think that's where Nigeria is into now, to vote for personality, not the party anymore. So no matter how you do it, Nigerians want to vote for who they want to vote for. Take his part of them too. So whoever wins, have the day.
Thank you, Patricia Gebres. In as much as you made your point clear, and it's up for us to look at it critically as the electorate on who their choice will be. Basically, some critics have said, which seems to hold water a lot, that an incumbent shouldn't be scared of competition in elections, except having that fear or poor or lack of resilience in its capability of winning elections. Because if you look at what has been transpiring, and it could give the impression that, well, a particular party isn't really embroidered in the litigations or legal battles. Why is it that way? And of course, how can we ensure that the incumbency factor doesn't kill opposition? How can we ensure that incumbency factor will bring about, a democracy that can breathe? These were the demands of the northern stakeholders, in the ages of the northern stakeholders, the protesters that came out yesterday to protest in Abuja. Let democracy in Nigeria breathe. Well, this is what we will be having in the course of the discussion today across from the Benin network, from the Benin studio rather. Well, let's see your thoughts on this as we wrap up.
Well, I feel that Nigerians should also expect more. A lot of questions had been raised when we heard in the news that Peter Obi moved to another party. I don't know if we're still dwelling on that, but just to go back to that conversation, and for some persons it wasn't really much of a shocking news, but I'll also just love to put out there that there is no politician in Nigeria that at some point or the other hasn't moved from one party to another party. That is why every time we keep on questioning if we get to operate an ideological system in Nigeria. It's just a game of interest. For instance, if you look at the early career of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at some point or the other, he moved from the Social Democratic Party in the early 90s down to Alliance for Democracy after the military rule. And of course, he has been in the APC because he is one of the founding fathers of the APC. But before then, do not forget that there was also a coalition of a merger of including the Action Congress of Nigeria, trying to put it out there correctly. But But just to buttress the point
Yeah.
that says that it's not just a case of Peter Obi, even though Bayo Onanuga, speaking for the presidency, did state that he is a political nomad. But moving forward, one major question that has been on the front burner is if he doesn't get a ticket in the ADC, are we going to see him move over again to another political party? Because rumor also has it that he has never really been involved in any primaries. All through his political career, it has been given to him. When he was in ABGA, I think it was because he did something really credible and he got that ticket on a platter of gold. And also saw what happened in the Labour Party as well. So, I don't know. Well, we're looking forward to all of the intrigues that will come out from 2027
looking
election.
forward to what's going to come out, most especially as some would say, how structural is the grassroots of the Nigeria Democratic Congress. Of course, looking at what the political developments are really urging towards. We'll take a short break, after which we'll look at the pages of the newspaper and dive into the first discussion for today, Tuesday. The Guardian newspaper, which is our first point of call on the pages of the newspaper. Well, some would say maybe it's not an easy task and it may not be possible for us to have a single candidate being fed into the election to contest with that of the All Progressives Congress candidate in the person of the president coming for a re-election. Well, we have this all, it says APC consensus fear tension. Political realignment nationwide. You can see the political figures, and all of these show the battle is not going to be easy. Who's going to win at the end of the day come 2027 as it inches closely? Of course, we have this. It says concerns over non-disclosure of signed 2026 budget. You have that by the side of the cover page, and Nest Oil denies responsibility for banks' woes. Well, let's look at this. It says poor diagnosis soaring, inhaler costs, pollution triggered deadly asthma surge. NNPC seals fresh deal to revamp Port Harcourt Warri refineries after $2.4 billion turnaround maintenance. That's a whole lot. Of course, this says Nasu Sano protests shut UI gates, disrupts activities at ABU and Unilorin. And group handlers issue final 72 hours notice to airlines over 9 billion naira debt. Well, all of this you'll find in the Guardian newspaper as we move along to the next.
The Daily Trust newspaper is up next, leading with the major headline that says refineries after 3.2 trillion naira, Chinese firms step in. Okay, rise in food prices strain FCT residents' income. Details of that on page 28. Xenophobia, Nigerians seeking repatriation will bear cost. The federal government speaking there on page 7. Bandits kill 11 in Katsina attack on page 8. Flight disruptions loom as ground handlers withdraw services Wednesday. Details of that story on page 424 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Other major headlines this morning. NDC, the new third force, a big question being raised there on page 5 apparently. Wabara-led PDP appoints Turaki interim chair on page 12. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, it says how rainstorm killed 3-year-old girl in Niger State. Quite a sad one on page 24.
Away from that sad one, let's get to the Vanguard newspaper, where we have it on the cover page. First, before we get to the very serious headline there, we got this on the top of the cover page where it says 16 killed in attacks on Katsina Plateau communities. And of course, we have this on 2027 PDP crisis deepens as rival blocks claim control. On registration, Dixon kicks as Ado vows court action, force INEC on NDC. Well, political gimmicks, you may say, but looking at the intrigues and the political stream, how can that, come to fusion where we can have democracy really enacted in the stream of politics without it being, coaxed by any, including the incumbent. Of course, this says on xenophobia, federal government demands probe into killing of Nigerians in South Africa. CSO's lawyer demand action against perpetrators. That's it. That's what we've got on the Vanguard newspaper. I'm afraid there's much you can take on the pages of the newspaper. Do well to get copies of the dailies yourself and internalize. And don't forget, after this short break, we will be diving into our first discussion from the Benin studio, where we'll look at the road to 2027, political survivor or strategists, and of course, their alignment ahead 2027. Do stay.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Benin. Opposition survival strategy amidst legal battles ahead 2027 is what we're about on this from the Benin studio as we look at what has been transpiring. And of course, just yesterday in Lagos, protesters on the edges of the northern Nigeria, stakeholders poured out in the street, and of course at the entrance of the Federal High Court, agitating and demanding that the president should stay off, the judiciary and never to interfere into the judicial decisions. And of course, the AGF should stay neutral. And of course, the aspect of no opposition, then no election. Let Nigerian democracy breathe. All of this came on placards yesterday, and of course, before that, we also got the legal battles and the judgment of the Supreme Court, where it arrested, they are not really arrested, where it nullified the antebellum status quo, as given by the appeal court on the ADC. And of course, all that transpired, where we're seeing some political figures moving from ADC now to NDC. What could be this realignment for? What could be the essence of this political survival? Some would say, well, there could be different reasons. Well, like they always say, politicians have no permanent enemies, but permanent interest. And so if their interest is not gotten from one point, they could move to another. But how does this affect our political ideology? And of course, the impression that if you can't stay to fix a party's problem and then you move to another, does it give room for a way to test your ability and resilience to fix Nigeria's problems? Well, discussing this was me, starting from the studio, and at my extreme left, I have the Edo State Publicity Secretary-elect in the person of Christopher Ojekere. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Christopher Ojekere is the ADC Publicity Secretary-elect, and good to have you join on this discussion. Next to Christopher Ojekere, I have a senior pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church, a public affairs analyst, and he is Bishop Austin Igbasa. And thanks for coming.
Good morning, and greet everyone.
All right, we're having an NDC chieftain who were formerly a member of the ADC, but now in the NDC, Amieye Omoige. Pardon me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Good morning and welcome to the show, Amieye Omoige.
Thank you very much, Philip. Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you.
All right, let's quickly start it. And the first question is rolling to you, the ADC Publicity Secretary-elect. Well, all that has happened. And of course, you've been on the forefront, trying to take bullets and trying to also apportion blames on what is happening. Well, some will say, well, the failure of the party could be as a result of poor capacity build-up. But again, has the party failed? And what about the judgment by the Supreme Court on the nullification of the antebellum order given by the appeal court on it? Does it mean victory for the party under the National Leadership Committee of Senator David Mark, or is it that it's a temporary victory? Now, how do you greet all of these developments looking ahead on 2027, and for the very fact that some political figures have moved again from your party? Could that also mean a poor future for your party's emergence in the 2027 election?
All right, two things you must always keep in mind when we come to these discussions is one, there is the, though amorphous as at the moment, there is the part or the side you call the opposition, which comprise all of those other parties which the ADC is leading against the APC, which is the ruling party that have created all of these problems. We are not to ever look at these problems or at this situation or this context as normal. It isn't normal. This is not the first time Nigerians are going to do a presidential election. These problems were deliberately created by the APC, beginning with Labour Party, up onto, beginning with PDP, up onto Labour Party, and then to ADC, and then now to NDC. Now, the problems were created deliberately by the ruling government to ensure that APC achieves a one-party state, and that President Bola Tinubu doesn't have anybody on any other ballot from any other political party to challenge him in 2027.
We are not in the courtroom, but do you have any evidence to prove that?
We must, well, the evidence we have is just what I have said earlier, that these problems are deliberately created. We have been, I mean, this is 20-something years of our democracy, and we've had successions, seamless successions from one regime to another. Why is it that in this particular time, you are having created strange court cases that neither the judiciary nor political parties have ever heard about? And you are having different cliques of people, different groups of people, some nondescript people. Anybody cannot just wake up, get a group of people within the party, and then head straight for the press, and then announce themselves as something, and then go to court. So this kind of scenario, and the reason you must make this an important focal point whenever you are discussing this, is that Tinubu should not achieve its aim. So I'm not going to get sucked in the opposition's, some people having indiscretion within the opposition, not to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that in 2027 we must remove Tinubu. Now, the Supreme Court's judgment for the ADC was a psychological morale booster for Nigeria's Democrats, and for the ADC especially. It was a psychological defeat of that intention by the president to ensure that we do not have opposition party. We understand that the justices of the Supreme Court were under immense pressure to ensure that they follow up in the ignorance and malicious interpretation of status quo ante bellum by the INEC chairman, but they refused. So what they did was to tactically avoid confronting the president head-on, and then say the case should go back to the Federal High Court. So that is what they did at the Supreme Court. But to restore back the leadership of the ADC, which had no reason in the first place to be displaced or to be, de-recognized as was done by INEC. So the point we are making is that the battles are still on, but the war has not been finished. It is when you finish the war that you will know that the battle has been won. The battles are on. We are not running away. We are not weak. We are strong. We understand the system. We understand what is being thrown up, and we are meeting them toe to toe, and we are going to win the war, because the law can never be twisted to the point where one single man will think that you will manipulate 240 million Nigerians and come out as the only presidential candidate. It won't happen. So the cases being thrown at us, they are dying out one by one. What we have just now is a case that is really no case. First of all, the case has been defeated ab initio by the fact that Section 83 of subsection 5 of the Electoral Act, as amended by the legislature that has the larger population from the ruling party, were the ones who insisted that you cannot even, it's not even justiciable. Issues of internal party democracy, especially as it relates to Congress, primaries and all of that, it's not even justiciable, that no court should even entertain it. So the justice that entertained that erred in law. So there is no case in that one. The other one that is remaining, we are beginning to see certain developments that will tell you that that case will never be tried again, because the case would go the way it should go, and that is that truth will prevail over errors and conspiracies. So the point is, democracy in Nigeria has come to stay. An opposition party has come to stay. And we are going to be there in 2077 and on the ballot.
Okay. You said so many things, but I want to hinge on two aspects you spoke about, where you said the ADC is on the forefront leading the opposition. And again, you also made it clear that, the party isn't weak, or the people in the party, they aren't weak, and that they are dogged in your impression. Let's get to you, Mieye Omoegie. You were formerly a member of the ADC. Well, actually, if we are to trace it, it started with PDP, if not other party before the PDP. And then from the PDP, you moved to the ADC. And since things seem not to be all going well, the legal battles in the ADC probably could be the reason why you moved to the NDC. If you heard what the public secretary of ADC said, that they are not weak. Now, the decision you took alongside your leaders in the person of Peter Obi and Musa Kwankwaso, could it be seen as a weak decision to move from ADC into NDC just for relevance, or what could be the aim?
Thank you very much, Philip. Thank you, Nigerians. To answer that question, I would say that Peter Gregory Obi, His Excellency, has just saved democracy in Nigeria, and to ensure that we do not continue in a one-party state in Nigeria. Of course, I must tell you this, that the movement of His Excellency Peter Obi and Kwankwaso to the NDC was a very smart move. In fact, they outsmarted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You could recall in February or thereabout when Peter Obi visited Kwankwaso in Kano, and of course, distinguished Senator Saraki Dixon was equally there. And that was when this was orchestrated. You know, every time you keep asking Peter Obi what will happen if the primaries in the ADC is dollarized, what will happen if your name is not on the ballot. And he keep reassuring Nigerians that the name will be on the ballot. You found out that when Peter Obi visited Bayelsa to see Saraki Dixon, and also visited the former president of Nigeria, Ebele Jonathan, that same February was when Saraki Dixon went ahead to ensure that the registration of NDC was orchestrated. Now, if you look at the pictorial of problems, befalling the ADC at the moment, like I would want to agree with my brother in the studio, Mr. Chris Ojekere. All this problem is simply the hands of Esau and the voice of Jacob. Everything happening in all the opposition political party today is well orchestrated by the presidency. Of course, you were asking whether there is evidence. Evidences are abound. We all saw all on social media when the chief of staff to the president, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, was telling the senator from Kogi State, go remain in the ADC, scatter them. That is somebody who is the kitchen cabinet of the president, asking for a member to go and scatter that political party. As I speak with you now, the former presidential candidate of the ADC, in the person of Ibe Kachiku, is planning a parallel convention. Of course, a day before the Supreme Court judgment, the Federal High Court pronounced that the tenure of all the ADC state chairmen has not expired, that it will expire on the 12th, that they still remain, that all the congresses that were done from the unit to the ward to the local government to the state is null and void. And now for you to have proper registration member given to INEC and for you to meet up with everything itemized on the electoral timetable. You must have gone through the world congresses, the local government congresses, the state congresses. Where do ADC, really go from here? So like I want to say that the movement of His Excellency Peter Obi and Kwankwaso has actually saved democracy in this country. That will ensure that we don't have a single party democracy in Nigeria. So we should give kudos to Peter Obi for that smart move. Thank you.
Bishop Austin Igbasan, I know you are a man of repute, and of course, I know that you basically would speak objectively, looking at what we are faced with, because we've seen situations, and even critics do say, which seem to be in line with our popular thoughts, that an incumbent factor, or if the incumbency is bringing machinations in order to stall the progress of a competitive election come 2027, could be an act of fear, or could be an act of fear that it does not have legitimacy to win the 2027 election. Now, with all of these accusations, allegations on the All Progressives Congress, do you see strengths in the All Progressives Congress under the present leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as really making sure that this 2027 election will allow democracy breathe, and of course the opposition compete with him in the election 2027, looking at what is happening?
Just like what you have said, I've listened, I've followed. If you remember vividly when we talk of Ibadan Summit in different fora, I made my point very clear. The problem is that ADC problem started even when Tinubu has not become president. I marveled when people are talking that Tinubu is the one that caused their problem. It's like when we were here, PDP problem started between Wike and Atiku on the issue. I still spoke on this same platform here when the PDP man was seated here that day, and we're talking about the election. I was telling them that this election will not favor Atiku. I said, you don't go with a divided house. The issue that brought PDP to its knee today, that you see, democracy thrives when there is strong opposition.
Exactly.
And that is the sweetness of democracy, that opposition can come up and say, okay, it is not this way. That you can even criticize the policy of the government and criticize the project of the government. It's a job of opposition, but positive criticism. But when opposition, people that are supposed to come together, the issue they have is that everybody coming together now. They are not coming together because they want to oppose Tinubu. They are coming together because they want to grab power. And if you want me to give the dossier of the people, the so-called opposition you are talking about, all of them have participated in leadership in this country, and we have seen the demonstration of what they have done. Now, the problem of PDP started from Wike and Atiku on. This thing come to the south. You can't have the party chairman not, and have the presidential candidate not. But when people are talking today, they say he brought Wike to destroy PDP. Do they look at, when you are talking of a problem, you look at what causes the problem? But now I'm
seems what it is.
No, what I'm telling you is that a problem started from the house, where you're supposed to do what is legitimate. The constitution of PDP says you can't have party chairman and presidential candidate from one part of the region in this country. And you now say it is Tinubu that came in here to come and help you because you are not, you people are greedy to be able to allow it to fly. Even when we said Iyocha Ayu is a paperweight politician, Atiku said that is the way to go. And now for the error you committed, you are not blaming an opposition, you are blaming a sitting government for it. Is there any sense in that? Now, the issue I put on ground is that the PDP constitution said you can't have presidential candidate and have the party chairman from one region. And two people who are supposed to go with that constitution disobey it, and they brought their party to ruin. Now you see PDP governor cross to APC. I'm not an APC man, but I championed the cause of Tinubu, and you know, I stood here during the election. I'm not a politician, but I look at things objectively. The question is that now these two people are fighting on their own constitution of their party. Then you are blaming Tinubu that he was the one that orchestrated Atiku not to accept a Southerner to become presidential candidate or the party chairman. Is there any sense in that? Then let us talk about ADC. ADC problem has started. They have been in court before Tinubu became president. And here I will sit here and say it is Tinubu that is sending them to court. When the matter is before Federal High Court, when it's supposed to be trashed out, somebody run to appeal court. You say it is Tinubu that is working in something. The person that ran to appeal court is the so-called chairman of that party. Is it Tinubu that sponsor David Mark to run to court of appeal? When the matter is before Federal High Court that needed to be trashed out? So what I'm saying is that if we are talking about everybody that sits on the position of authority, they want to sit down there. But you can talk about Tinubu that all what is happening, okay, PDP have problem and PDP governor, they are seeing that there are two factions. By the time I said I want to come back, who is going to sign my nomination form? There is a problem that we are having in court. They begin to cross ship. You now say it is Tinubu that is bringing them. If that house is fixed, the two people that are currently on their party, if they fix it, do you want, okay, example of PDP governor of Delta State before, you wanted him to wait and the two factions that is not having future now to come and say nominate me, and the court say this is the other faction that is flying. Every politician go with interest. So when you say Tinubu make people to cross governors to jump, is there any sense in that?
Okay,
but people see that,
are you saying him capitalizing on the weakness?
No. So what I'm saying, there is no about capitalizing on weakness of the party.
But that's what politicians do.
No, what I'm saying is that
they capitalize on the gaps.
Who is inviting? I want to come for second time, and I see that my party is having two factions, and they are in court. And I want to come back as a governor, and I'm looking at my own interest, and I see that if I continue like this and I go with this faction, when the judgment will come, I will lose. I decided to jump. Now do you blame the president for the person who is seeking his own future for second time?
Okay,
let us look at
what's the role of the AGF? Because some have said that the AGF should be neutral in all of this.
The AGF, that is the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. Now, Attorney General by the virtue of his office ought to be neutral.
Exactly.
And needs to be neutral.
So that gives an impression.
Now, the question is that if anything has to go wrong as far as law is concerned, don't also forget that the AGF is #1 law officer of the Federation.
Which should be neutral.
And that is what I'm saying. But if anything has to go with what the law of the land says, the AGF must step in. We were all here when Malami was our AGF. We were all here. When people are shouting now, when you are talking, two people are in the party now. The ADC we are talking about, the other man is talking about, let's clap for Peter Obi. Now two people are in that same party. Atiku, did you listen to the interview of Atiku last week? Is it President Tinubu that is talking from his mouth? From his mouth. And then that statement at 80. Is it Tinubu that told Rabiu Kwankasho to call Atiku a liar at 80? Is it Tinubu that is speaking from their mouth? Now, when you have a problem in your own house and you don't solve it, and everybody is sipping it on, that's why I'm talking about it. The two persons now. Tinubu, Atiku wants to be president of ADC. He is not ready to shift for Peter Obi. And Peter Obi see that it's no future here. He has moved to another party. And you are here telling me to sit down to now say it is Tinubu that is tying Atiku to that chair to say you can't shift and allow somebody younger to take the space.
I'll come back to you.
Is that let's objectively, is that the problem of Tinubu now? Is it Tinubu that is making Atiku to say, I won't shift, I bought this party, I'm going to be the presidential candidate. Younger person is either you be my deputy. Is it Tinubu that is telling Atiku now that the slot of Southerner has not finished? We still have 4 years.
I think the question will be answered by Christopher Jeffrey.
When we are saying because it is Tinubu that is scattering this
party. You are asking me that question.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. No.
Let's wait for Christopher Jeffrey to respond.
Those are the points he raised. That's why I stand here to talk objectively. To talk about Atiku is not ready to move. And Peter Obi is not ready to bow. And they are now leaving. You are now sitting here to tell me that it is Tinubu that is behind their decision. I won't take that.
The intensity upon me here is great, and the energy is huge. So let's get get to you, Christopher Ojekere. Can you respond to that question?
The shift of their interest. In the issue of interest. Is it Tinubu that said, Atiku, you must be presidential candidate at 80, and you must not shoot for a younger person that can make the man to move to NDC?
Thank you.
Is it Tinubu that is now standing in their heart? That's what I want to get.
Let's get your response, and most especially where the court seems to have turned back, have turned back the case to the High Court, where they have
there is no need to go to that court of appeal,
where they have to determine how.
I follow the matter.
Do you see the future bright for your party, most especially as we are looking at 2027 close by? Why you are also responding to what he said?
Well, if you as the presenter feels threatened, then you can know how I feel here. I hope Chief Igbasam would put a gauge on his emotion so that he doesn't box us on the studio.
No, I won't do that.
I've been on
this side.
Emotion does not suggest subjectivity.
I've mentioned now Atiku's decision. Is it Tinubu that is telling him that don't shoot for Peter Obi that have made? That is what I'm asking. That's a German question. Yes, is it Tinubu that tell Atiku say sit down at 80, don't shift?
That's a German question, because that's where someone said. Yes, he has the floor to respond. He has the floor to respond. Because that's just to add this.
Maybe when his emotion is down.
Yeah. No, nothing is wrong with my emotion.
Yes, just to add this. Just to add this. Why you are responding?
The question to ask him is: was he there when that discussion took place? That Atiku, were you there in the discussion where Atiku said, "I must be there at 80"? Were you there? Do you know? Hold on, please. Let me finish. Do you know if they had such discussion?
Okay.
Hold on. Because you see, when you get worked up in emotions, you leave logic and reason behind. You should speak with evidence. That's objectivity. Hold on. Did you know? Do you have any evidence of such discussion?
I can tell you, sir.
Well, just go to the point. Go to the point. There's no need for us to banter with questions at each other.
If you were speaking that after a primary, Obi came out to say, this is the disagreement. The Obi who left the party, you heard his own statement, that he has no problem with the party, that he has no problem with his leaders, that the reason why he left is because of the fact that from experience in the Labour Party, he has been able to see the hand of Tinubu in trying to destroy opposition parties. And you sit here to defend Tinubu with such emotions without evidence of such discussions? Now let me explain to you. Political party is an institution that runs on rules, and that's also a social environment. If you have a problem in the family, and then you have another member of the family exacerbating that problem, and you say you are a pastor, and you sit and you say, why did you, husband and wife, why did you quarrel? We cannot blame your son who exacerbated this quarrel.
Are you bothered? And is your party bothered about the fact that, or the impression that the ruling non-progressives Congress under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is raising machinations to, incapacitate your party? Are you bothered?
It is a contestation. Tinubu fights with the methods and rule of his psyche.
Is he getting at your party? Is that what you mean?
He's getting at every opposition party. He's getting at our party. He fights the way he is. You project your nature. Tinubu runs in a different paradigm.
Okay, but
hold on. We as gentlemen, we run on the basis of rules, regulation. Democracy is what gives authority to our existence, not Tinubu.
Okay, but I don't believe you are overwhelmed by this, are you?
We are not bothered. I told you earlier that we are matching them toe by toe. Gbajabiamila, Amiabiye just reminded us, the chief of staff to the president. You want to tell me in any civilized world where the chief of staff to the president makes a statement and you say it's not the administration, was caught on international television telling a renegade, destroy the party, stay there and destroy the party. And you are here exonerating Tinubu.
I am telling you,
whereas the chief of staff was caught in public glare
when
telling, let me finish, I didn't interrupt you.
Oh, when you have the floor, you can ventilate that.
Telling the chief of staff speaks for the president. That's the administration. That's how it's described in civilized country, that the administration says that the renegade ADC man should destroy the party.
Okay, now
hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
So the point we are making is this. The court cases that are being thrown at us is possible Because the president has created a toxic situation. If you are defending Tinubu in Labour Party, you are defending him in PDP, you are defending him in ADC. So you are saying that each of these parties just sat down after formation, decided to trouble themselves and break up. The Peter Obi that you are referring to has gone through 3 of these parties, in fact 4 of these parties. What do you call it? PDP, Labour Party, ADC, and now he's gone to NDC.
It is the same Tinubu that is pursuing.
Hold on. We are saying this.
One man is pursuing him. He wants to root 240
million. I'm saying to you that the chief of staff to the president, the administration has spoken that ADC should be destroyed.
Okay, no. Let's not, Christopher. Let's not dwell too much on the problem.
We dwell because I told you to speak by evidence.
You seem to feel intimidated by what you feel.
All the hot matter in your party. It was your people that took it there.
He has the floor. He has the floor. He has the floor.
He's not allowing anybody.
From what you are saying, you want to see what projections the ADC has in making sure that it wins this election, because you seem if we continue on this pedestal, it could give the impression that you seem and your party seem overwhelmed by what is happening.
Overwhelmed by what? We run on the basis of laws and rules. By law, the leadership of the party that was derecognized has been re-recognized. The law has pushed Amupita to return David Mark's name back to IDEC. We are firmly protected by the law, so why should we be overwhelmed?
But the case will still be back in court.
The case will be back in court as it was pronounced by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
You wait until the case.
So where does that put your party?
Hold on. You wait until the case is back in court. Do you know that there's what we call out-of-court settlements? Do you know that there's what we call a dispute resolution?
No. If you believe that there are machinations from the ruling party, then there wouldn't be the possibility of that.
Let me explain.
If you are saying this, then it gives the impression that you are just apportioning blame without adequate evidence.
Let me explain to you. Have you seen what they call confessed thieves? Have you seen what they call confessed thieves? So there are people who repent when they come to the realization that they are being used to do nefarious activities or they are doing wicked work. They will repent and they will make public confession. Have you seen on social media when Nafiu Bala told you that Babache Lawal and Abijide, the renegade Abijide, are the one making him do what he has done?
Okay, what about if this don't happen?
I speak evidence. I don't talk emotionally. Have you seen, hold on social media, when Nafiu Bala has confessed that Babache Lawal and Abijide, that what is his name, Bagame Abila was telling to destroy them, were the ones that made him do what he's doing?
Okay.
Now, have you seen that? So we speak on evidence and facts. And by evidence and facts, I'm telling you that by the time a few story comes out, you will know who are other people that are involved.
Okay, thank you.
What is going on?
Thank you. Before I come back to you, I know you are very, very.
Because I want to respond to what he said.
You respond after
all what I said.
You respond after we get the response from
Operation Where
the chief of the NDC.
Quiet one.
Ameyo Moige, please. Can we have you talk in this direction? Because some have said that how reliable is your party, the party you moved to, how reliable is it in terms of structural grassroots strength? Are you relying on the structure of the party of the NDC or the popularity of Peter Obi that also some say could be dwindling?
Thank you very much. I want to, by the way, state that we should dwell on the topic for which we are discussing. We are discussing about opposition and survival strategy from legal battles, and we should stay on issues and not to flare up emotion. That being said, less than 72 hours that His Excellency Peter Obi and His Excellency Kwankwaso moved over to NDC. We have over 10 million registered members of the NDC. So our focus right now is not too many talks. Our focus is a critical assignment back to the grassroots, mobilizing the grassroots from the unit level to the ward level, to the local government level, and to the state level. I will tell you today, that all NDCs offices across the nation is now a mecca of some sort. Obi is a movement. Kwankwaso is a movement. We are having the two largest political movements in Nigeria, if not in Africa, coming into the NDC. And Nigeria will soon have a sigh of relief. What we should be after right now is how to turn the fortunes of Nigeria aright, whether in the north, whether in the south, whether in the west, whether in the east. Whether you are from APC, whether you are in ADC, whether you are in LP, or whatever political party you are, is Nigeria better off today under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? The answer is no. And if that is the answer, we all have to put all hands on deck to ensure that we rally around Peter Obi, if given the ticket, and Kwankwaso, to make sure that the fortunes of this nation is turned aright. It is the same market we all buy from. My brother in the studio that is supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu without evidences, I want to tell you that we are all buying from the same market. If today, I want to state here categorically, if today His Excellency Peter Obi goes to the APC, he will be the preferred candidate by members of the APC themselves. We all know the truth. Let's not shy away from the truth. And talking about structure, a certain senator came out the other time and said it's just 4 people tweeting from the room. We all know how the 2023 election went. And this time, we are not going to take it lightly. We are going to monitor and protect our vote to ensure that it counts, to ensure that Nigeria of our dream is bettered under the leadership of His Excellency Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. Thank you very much.
You have the floor. Now, with what is happening presently, some have said that, well, with the Ibadan Summit declaration for a single candidate to be fed into election to contest with the ruling All Progressives Congress, what if in that coalition, or do you believe that such a coalition can be formed? And would your party leader, and the person of the former presidential candidate of 2023, would he want to align submissively under another candidacy of someone else in the coalition? What do you see going forward for the future of NDC if such decisions could be taken?
Thank you very much. The Ibadan Summit is well thought out. To be able to push away President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from Aso Rock, all opposition really need to come together and join hands to ensure that this happens. Now, we have to look at all the candidates that will emerge from the various opposition parties. But what I can tell you here for free is that we are going to be looking at competence, we are going to be looking at character, we are going to be looking at capacity. Either ways, some of them have ruled in one capacity or the other. We know their background, we know their history. This is going to be brought to the fore, and before choices will be made. And I can bet you that on top of this list is His Excellency, former governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi is in top of the list. What you want to look at performance indices, before in places where they've worked. Thank you.
There's another personality that was chosen instead of your leader, Peter Obi.
Like what I told you, it is not just it's going to be chosen on the basis of emotional sentiment. There are going to be key indicators. There are going to be steps to take. There are going to be criteria to select when that time comes. Like I said, and I told you, and I will also say, I repeat it again for the opportune time, that His Excellency Peter Obi stand tall on that ladder.
Thank you. With the discordant tones from politicians from different parties, and of course what is coming up, we may be scared about the possibility of having that single candidate ahead of 2027. But if time will permit us, I think you would be reacting to that. But let's get to you, Bishop Austin Igbasa, with all of the hurricane and all the issues that popped up in terms of the energy. What do you have to say in response to what Christopher Jekere said, and probably what Ameyo Omoyege also said?
You see, we are living leprosy, and we are trying to talk about eczema. You see, leprosy is the grandfather to eczema. You see, the problem of running up and down. My brother is talking here just now. Was I part of the meeting? And I am referring to the interview that Atiku granted. The latest interview he granted. Every right-thinking person knew the direction, and he was very factual about that. You want to tell me now, my children are listening to me now, at home, and other people that believe in me, we will now sit down and say, Peter Obi just left, they just do handshake, and that was why he moved to NDC. After Operation Wettier meeting in Ibadan. Operation Wettier, those who were alive in Wettier, they knew what it was. Operation what? Operation Wettier. That meeting they had in Ibadan. You know, the slogan that ended it is that they are going to use Operation Wettier to take power. We were all here when Rotimi Amechi said, we will take power. We will run a parallel government.
Can you please explain what you mean by that?
Operation Wettier was what happened in the action group, where houses, lives were destroyed. That was the last statement of Governor Makinde in that ADC program they had in Ibadan, that they are going to use Operation Wettier. And I've spoken it in several fora, that I'm ashamed because I stood for Seyi Makinde because I'm of the opinion of younger generation. But what he said that day, I know he wasn't alive during the Wettier. If he was alive, he won't quote what he quoted, because you cannot destroy a country you want to rule. Because you want to remove the president, you have to carry the goalpost away. When you carry the goalpost away, how do you run it? Now I talk about the court cases that ADC have. Those court cases have been before Tinubu became president. I will not sit down here to tell you that Tinubu orchestrated the cases. So when you are in opposition, and the issue that is troubling them now is the issue to grab power. If it is issue of how to govern the people and do better than Tinubu, it will be on everybody sit down.
Okay, but I drop my ambition. You still have the floor. But if you see what is happening, Nigerians seem not to be happy. Let's not pretend about it.
We're not pretending.
Because a lot that he said he will be coming to do, even while he even made promise, for power, that he's going to do that even before the end of his first term. But we were amazed where he not even brought solar power into Aso Rock, the presidential villa, giving the impression that maybe he lacks the technical know-how. Now, in aspect of insecurity, it's still growing every day. So some believe that the president seemed just to make promises without, implementing or finding a way to bring these promises into fusion. And again, the aspect of always embarking on loans and all that. So some feel that he's clueless and maybe doesn't know how to, move the country forward in the right direction.
If we talk about security, it's only somebody we are paying with what is happening around, and we cannot toy with the lives of human beings, because it's a life that we cannot manufacture by ourselves or produce. So we don't encourage people to take life. But as a security expert, by statistic, you cannot compare security situation under Bola Ahmed Tinubu with security situation under late President Muhammadu Buhari, who is a general. Under Buhari, we got 12 to Kano.
Do you mean to say you admire the performance so far? Do you mean to say you admire his performance so far?
You don't say admire. Even in the military itself, we cannot compare the security situation. We were here when Buhari said, I sent the IG to Benue. I didn't know he has not resumed there. We can't compare. It was that same time we have Kano Kaduna train problem. And how many of those people were picked? How many of the culprits? How many of the culprits then were brought to book? It was then we had jailbreak. How many jailbreak have you had under Tinubu? Do you know the number of jailbreak? We have about 13 major jailbreak under President Mohamed late Buhari, and also the Kuje break.
Okay, but we have think it would be wrong for you to comparatively juxtapose with that. Why don't you juxtapose with a better administration?
What I'm saying is that if you are talking of a civilian and a military man, a military general, you can't compare the two of them. Their level of wisdom, tactics about military and security. So if a man who is not a tactician and is not a security expert can do so much more than the general.
Okay.
But I tell you for free, insecurity you are talking about now, the people who are behind it, I did not. And it is not an insecurity, it is a business.
Okay.
It is a business. We were out here when we were told that we will shame them, we will catch them and shame them. Did you see when the issue came up, even when South Africa brought the list of some people, United Arab Emirates brought the list of sponsors, what did Buhari did about the sponsor of terrorism?
Okay.
He said they cannot shame them. Okay. Even after all of us were all over the street. So what I'm saying is that if we compare insecurity, it's only somebody that is not godly that will say there is no difference, far different. Even when you call the military guys, they will tell you that there is far difference between this administration and an administration headed by a retired general.
All right.
So talking about what Tinubu is doing, even God we are talking about, that we are following, people are complaining about God. There is no government, I believe very strongly, that can fix all the problem of humanity. When this one is able to fix, the next person continue from there. But for us to say the man has not done anything, we will be telling ourselves big lie. And the people you see running up and down here, they are all people that are feeding fat from subsidy and the rest of them.
Thank you.
So I can tell you for free that it is on record that Issa Yuguda was on a live program on channel, and he said, I have a friend who said they should stop subsidy because we are making so much money. The man is still alive. The clip is still alive on video. So talking about opposition, nothing is wrong. As much as I love Tinubu, I want strong opposition. But not opposition that will not look inward of their own greed.
Thank you.
It is Tinubu that
let's get to you, Christopher Ojekere, as we wrap up. You heard what Ameya Omoigbe said concerning the numbers having in the NDC. And of course, with the challenges the ADC is facing, there seem to be much defections again, moving from ADC to other political parties. Now, are you sure you can rely on the numbers left for a good contest in 2027 against the ruling All Progressives Congress candidate, or you rely on a coalition going forward?
All right, I'll quickly come to that. But he made a very good point, which Nigerians should know. He's comparing the same political party, two regimes. One, a disaster, the other one, a catastrophe. The APC regime of Buhari and the APC regime of Tinubu, what we have as comparisons between disaster and catastrophe, which has completely nullified that party from any legitimacy to rule this country. It is now a question of which regime produces the more deaths to Nigeria, which regime of the same party now neglected more the primary purpose of government, which is to provide welfare and security. So that's what the APC is. Thank him for his honesty on that. Between Buhari and Tinubu, we have to sit down and work out the statistics of who has killed more Nigerians, who have neglected the constitution more. That is exactly the situation. And that necessitates the opposition. Now let me tell you, I didn't come here to begin to reel out the ADC strategy. We are a surprise party. What we do is we finish our underground work and you see what has happened.
But your number seems to be reducing.
Hold on. The Ibadan summit, our number is not reducing. The Ibadan summit is a strategic political masterstroke that has put the president under such unease that you see that the only thing they can bring out there is the Operation Wet here. The statement the Makinde made is a regular statement in the southwest of Nigeria. It was Awolowo who said those who will not make peaceful change possible will make violent change inevitable. Now, it is just a matter of relating cause and effect situation and relationship. Now, he was saying that they should remember that Operation Wet here started in Ibadan, recalling history where democracy was slaughtered in the slab and then the people reacted. It's a natural progression of a reaction. So he didn't say we are going to burn down the country as he implied. He was just reminding Nigerians that you don't create a room for such things to happen. But now, as for our party, we had a strategic masterstroke. I want you to know that the PDP, by court ruling today, has completely nullified any chances of the PDP to produce a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Now, these political thinkers have seen this ahead, and then they got together with our political thinkers, and then they said, we are going to produce a single presidential candidate. That's what they say. They didn't say they are going to demobilize the PDP, but we'll produce a single presidential candidate. Because the PDP has structure in all of the units of this country. The PDP has structure in all of the wards of this country and all of the AGAs and states.
Okay, but I'm afraid for you. I'm afraid for you and your party because of the numbers. You said it's not decreasing.
I am saying.
But we have Peter Obi. You still have the floor. We have Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso moving away from the party.
How do you know that Rabiu Kwankwaso and Peter Obi will not work with us later? You see, what you are seeing here, as I told you, I said, it's a series of battles that leads to a war. It is after the war you do your analysis. What you are seeing here are developments. Now, I know, for instance, by privileged information, that Peter Obi has just walked into a trap. But he's going to realize himself. You see, there's a quotation that says, he that has an Hungarian for a friend does not need an enemy. I know the planners of this movement. I know the meetings that were held in France.
Still orchestrated?
Yes, I know the meetings that were held in other places in this country. I don't want to mention the name. So we are not ignorant people. In the ADC, we have been in it, we are still in it. And then we know what is going on. But this is television. There is politics, there is analysis. So at the end of the day, the battle will be won. And as I said earlier,
so to your mind, Peter Obi is walking into a cage that could make him unable to contest 2027 election?
Hold on.
Can you please voice that?
Hold on. I just said, no, that's where I will stop.
Okay.
I said, I know he has walked into a trap from where I hope he will deliver himself later. So there are people who orchestrate things and then they set agenda. But we are not here to begin to, what we know, yesterday we had our meeting. All our structure is intact, and we are communicating with each other. We are a party that have been established, and we are going into the 2027 election as a mature party. All the behind-the-scenes activities that makes the ruling party to steal votes, that is our concentration right now. We are going to stop them in their track. Before they came out with all these their plans, we already knew where they were going.
All right.
We are that man. You know, Jesus Christ said in the Bible that if the good man of the house had known when the thief would come,
Thank you.
We are a prepared party.
Thank you. I just want to leave. I want you to drop just 10 seconds a round off to you, Ameyo Omoige. 10 seconds. Your last remarks on this discussion.
Thank you very much. I want to tell all Nigerians to rally around His Excellency Peter Obi and Kwankwaso to ensure that we have a new order in Nigeria. And I don't agree with my brother in the studio that His Excellency has, fallen into a trap. That's not true. But rather, His Excellency has saved the face of democracy in Nigeria. And that is the only reason why we will not have a one-party system in Nigeria. Thank you.
That may be the beginning of another discordant tones that may make it impossible for a coalition, but well, we don't pray for that anyways. Your last remarks in 10 seconds.
I appeal to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to focus on what he's doing, and he should continue his good work. Let the opposition look at themselves inside.
All right.
And my father said, when a bushmeat escape a trap and is doing Thanksgiving, he never come out for bush. And not be that only trap night day bush.
Thank you. Your final conclusions.
Well, ADC members should keep faith with the party. We are encouraged so far with the way they are steadfast. We will lead the coalition into 2027. That was the spirit and covenant from the beginning. That will be the spirit and covenant at the end.
Thank you, Christopher Ojekore. Big thanks, the ADC Publicity Secretary-elect. And of course, big thanks to you, the senior pastor of Son of Liberation Bible Church, Bishop Austin Ipasan, and of course, the chieftain of the NDC, Ameyo Omoige. Big thanks. This is where we'll call it a wrap on this segment. We take a short break, after which we'll be joining Tolulokpe of Abuja studio for the conversation.
Yeah, talking about really what is really happening in the political landscape, and also looking at the discussion right there, really the heated discussion, taking a look at what is really happening right there, and looking at the opposition, what they really bring to the table. And that really takes also a discussion right there, where we also look at the mass defection right there, does it portend good for democracy, or perhaps taking us decades backward, or even 3 decades backward, right there, talking about things happening. And also joining us via Zoom this morning will be our comrade Mark Adebayo, who as we'll be looking at what is really happening with the spate of defections from one party to the other, especially relating to the ruling party, what this means and how do we ensure that democracy continues to progress right there. A wonderful morning to you, comrade Mark Adebayo.
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us this morning and for being part of the discussion. Okay. The quick one right there, comrade Mark. You've been monitoring what's been happening in the political landscape, especially with the spate of defections happening right there with political juggernaut junketing from one party to another. What do you make of this? What does it portend for future of democracy?
There's a theory of psychology that states that a issue of because it's choose your own self-interest above the preventing of country belong. That involves addiction. But let me give you the thing that from the land that Peter defended from democracy into this, I thought that the action was because and I explained that this man completed his plans. I said, this is going to this vision. He will not going to act by from people and then you get the no except which you later have the ability to bring people well, if that's the plan is to for him to go back acquired by former PRT, I believe thinking of it's so you know the difference between politics. The four questions calling each side very big. If man you the AC was drawing what to find was political. You know, they just think about we are for colonies and behind them they ran into the sack that they are committing. It was the 90 in people got equation. And equation now is got equation. It becomes a population problem, a population of a question of energy and the coalition of in fact, as a person argues, it takes our who are taking
thank you so much right there, Comrade Mark, for that issue of statement right there. But still looking ahead right there, in the light of what is really happening, the court cases here and there, internal wranglings among political parties, do you think it can really help for them to come up with a credible candidate going towards 2027 election with the internal wranglings and everything? What do you make of this? And how will it not affect their candidate they will be feeding going to 2027 election?
Is in the kind of political management, internally to the worst is starting ambition of the place. But they get I would tell voters and working to for I want to be entered. I want to be the person. I want to be entered. I thought you question. Go behind of your seats. That's why today when you look back, I went into 2020 we are considering have to both way. You know, this you this party, join the party, and you just you know, and then you now let Labour to join them who in fact they are quite by and so you see Indian things are resolved by people sacrificing their ambitions. If true love of the country, but I don't say it's something particular with our all these people want to press it. Only when it's pressed at that. So they are wisely minimize their chance instead of queuing up behind candidates that have the of winning of the presidential election. And this president that know is not a joke. When it comes to elections, you know, you play as security, you play as when before to fix the security, to fix the emotion, you try to have communication. That's the extent that books, readers, and voters, and that's why I said to the radio, your position will go that because I don't know who's going to stop the president from this session. And I don't know how they are going to affect so closure of the member people affect over a year ago. They were part of a public console who in opposition wanting president that opposition to the election as a evident like going to do.
Okay, right here. But another major source of worry also has to do with the fact that you look at the candidate, the coalition, these are men who have been jockeying from one political party to the other. What does it say about their ideology? For a country like us, that is also divided into so many areas right there in terms of people with different interests. When you look at the coalition and you look at the quality of the people that are there, and also the fact that when you look at the antecedent, it makes some people to be worried about these kind of people that want to take power right there, because they are not deeply rooted to a certain extent, maybe you can say, to the ethos of democracy. And what do you make of that?
Well, the elections that you're doing your work where you're doing this work, try to check what possible. Because they are trying just later on one election. So if the president to that party, if he had as action science line, it also starts to look up there as our president. So not long time. From the big one to so said so that's and and sorted one to for so inconsistently, you don't know what and go to video or else. It's your problem. You are not. I had my to solve para not like well.
ITV, certainly the best.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Atiku Abubakar practically purchased. So now you went there, you thought you were going to get the ticket. No, Amishi is there, he wants to run for president. Atiku wants to run for president. We want to run for president. Kwakwaso wants to run for president. only one person can emerge presidential flag bearer of a particular party at a point. So, but it was a naive political move for him to abandon Labour Party and move to ADC. So, you know, I don't know why he does that, but he left PDP because of this same article. He now went to meet him in a political party that he acquired by himself and thinking that we are going to come up with a magic. There's no magic. You see, look, I said it on radio yesterday. Let the opposition go and prepare for 2031. This one is gone. This one is a goner because you are dealing with a president who's a game changer when it comes to elections and politics. So the refuse, the opposition refused to do his own work very well, and we are going to pay dearly for it in 2027 because you know, even look at the time, all these things they are doing now are things they are supposed to have done 2 years ago. But 2 years ago, there should have been a consensus. Even before the issue of consensus went into the Electoral Act, there should have been the issue of consensus. Who is our best striker? Who is our best possibility to win the election in 2027? Which I believed was Peter Obi, but they missed the mark. They have missed the point. Peter Obi would have been the best to give the APC a run for his money, but they didn't do it. So you just see that the president will have a massive victory in 2027 because the article will take away some of the votes. Obi will take away some of the votes. Probably Amaechi will come to somewhere else and remain presidential candidate and take away some of the votes. So the chunk of the votes will be reserved president because he knows how to play the game. The opposition lacks the capacity for scenario mapping and for proper planning for an election. And that is what you are saying. You cannot say because of the crisis here, the crisis there, everything is on APC, everything is on the government. I used to say that. I was saying that. But having understood the internal workings of the opposition coalition, I am terribly disappointed that the people that are supposed to be professional political managers are behaving like total amateurs. And that is what you are seeing. We have former vice president, we have former governors, we have former senate president, we have former senators, we have current senators, all former this, that, former this, former that, current this, current that, governor. And they have done this. This is the best they could do. This is the best they could do in terms of position. It's disappointing. I am very, very angry against the opposition, of which I am a part. Because they won't listen to you, except you are a former governor or a governor, a city senator. They will listen to you. I did a comprehensive proposal on how the 2027 election will go. And one of the day I got totally disappointed was the day of being moved to ADC because I knew, oh, this man, I just thrown away his and that is what is going to happen. We are going to see. They are going to perform hopefully we are going to perform even worse than they did in 2023 because you are dealing with active repeating. This president, when it comes to elections and politics, you need to be at the top of your game to it unleash to be the short one in the what it was in the past. Directed every one of them is how to remove Tinubu from power. And I don't think we should make that same mistake again. It must be about ideology, it must be about policy, it must be about issues, affect all of us as Nigerians. So the coalition is not getting things right, my brother. So people should stop this blame game of saying, oh, he's the president, oh, he's the APC, oh, he's the government, oh, he's the this and that. No, if you haven't gotten it right from the beginning, even the way the NDC was acquired, it is marks of unprofessionalism. They didn't cross their teeth, they didn't dot their eyes. So there was internal rebellion. And what did you expect? If there are cracks in the walls of your family. You have invited outsiders to come in through the cracks and create more chaos for you. So politics of election is about competition. It is not about helping your opponent to win. You have to utilize the weaknesses of your opponent to maximize your own opportunity. That is what happens all over, even in advanced democracies. So people should stop this blame game and go inside and do what is supposed to happen. You will have an anti coalition. If today the ADC, the PDP, the Labour Party, the SDP, the Action Alliance, the Action People's, the Allied Party Movement, and like 10 more, like 12 more, or 15 more, out of the 22 political parties will have to say this way and the definition of ambitious, probably over ambitious individuals who are pursuing their own selfish interest, not necessarily the interest of Nigeria. Because if it were to be on the interest of Nigeria, everybody in this country knows that the most popular opposition presidential aspirant in this country today is Peter Obi. Peter Obi, and if you want to win an election against a game changer, an excellent game player in terms of politics and election like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you need to put your best striker forward, which was Obi. But now, this striker is injured.
Comrade Mark. Comrade Mark. Is Tinubu that is making Atiku not to step down for Peter Obi? We saw what happened in 2023 when Peter Obi left PD because he couldn't get, it was on the ticket. Now in the coalition, that Peter Obi may not get the ticket because when it comes to winning Pama, Atiku is an F. So we say we have been vision for Atiku not agreeing to step down for Peter Obi.
Now to even think of that suggestion to even is quite laughable. It's quite funny, peculiar. Yeah. For anybody to suggest, by any shade of imagination, to say that Atiku, anybody who says Atiku is being controlled by Tinubu does not know Atiku. Atiku is probably the most determined presidential aspirant in this country today. Today, Vice President Atiku, that is why I don't understand why he made the kind of errors he made in the process of acquiring ADC. I don't know why he and his handlers made such terrible mistakes to allow for internal wranglings to now cause all these crises. Everybody should have been carried along. Everybody should have been settled. Everybody should have been involved, especially the people who are there. For instance, there was no need to remove the state chairman. There was no need to if the former chairman Nwosu wanted to leave his position and other members of the National Wing Committee wanted to leave, it should have been something that I can't say what I know about that thing on here. But it didn't go the way it should have gone. You don't say because some people are coming in one day they just take over all structures of the party. No, from national to state to zona to local to world to polling unit level. No, it doesn't happen there.
Interesting right there. Talking about what is really happening position right there. We're talking with Comrade Mark Adebayo, explaining the mass defection in opposition coalition and also the internal workings of democracy and put into consideration the recent move right there. With us, Comrade Adebayo, you can go ahead. Okay, we'll try to connect back, and I think time is not really on our side to continue that discussion right there. But I must say big thank you to Comrade Mark Adebayo for joining us this morning and also taking a look at the mass rate of mass defection and in opposition. So we're looking forward to 2027 elections right there. So much really happening right there from Abuja Network Studio, Abuja Studio. And from there, we'll be stepping over to Lagos. Patricia is also standing by at the Lagos to continue with the conversation on This Morning on Night TV.
The land of Owa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences,
Good morning and welcome to the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. It's good to have you this morning. You know, we're going to be looking at the political ripple, Obi and Kwankwaso's move from ADC to NDC, the broader impact on 2027 general election. Is the impact going to be positive or negative? Those are the things we're going to be looking at from our Lagos Network studio this morning. And to do this with me, okay, as usual, I have Mr. Tony Waje. Mr. Tony Waje is in the house this morning. I'm so excited to have him seated. Mr. Tony Waje is a political analyst. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you for having time to come here.
Thank you.
Okay, so Sam was saying politics analyst here we wanting to look the political ripple in Nigeria. Dr. Sam, good to It's a few months away from the 2027 elections, and there's been movement from one party to another. And all of this is, you know, beginning to raise questions. Do these people moving from one party to another have the time to be able to put themselves together and have a credible opposition party? But let's go straight to, let me start with you, Mr. Tony. What are the key political implications of Obi and Kwankwaso's move from ADC to NDC?
Let me just put it this way. They've moved from ADC to NDC. But I have an issue with it. My personal opinion, though. I was expecting a formidable opposition formation, you know, to deal with the present, situation with South created by Tinubu and Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency. Because we have to say the way it is, there's no need. People move
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.
ITV, certainly the best.
it comes to winning primaries, he's a champion. We give it to him. But now we're not talking about people who win primary. We're looking at people who win election. So that's what we should be looking at. So I think for me, the move, well, like he said, is short, but it's necessary. Because don't forget that even ADC still have a lot of court cases, about 3 or 4. So we don't even know how it's going to turn out at the end of the day. So they themselves have a lot of uncertainty. That they are not even sure of how it's going to come out. And don't forget
but now we have
NDC,
so this is so.
Yes, you see, even between AD and NDC, it's about APC and these two political parties you just mentioned. Because they're not, you can see, coins has been flipped. Can you see that? And at the moment, Atiku camp accusing, Peter Obi and Kwankwaso for that move. I watched on TV yesterday, I saw Bolaji Abdullahi, spokesperson for ADC, lambasting Peter Obi's move. I saw Dati Yusuf Ahmed yesterday had a press conference blasting Peter Obi for that move. ADC people too are accusing, NDC people too are accusing ADC for going to the social media and messing, So it's becoming messy now. So what do you expect? Now ADC, APC is sitting quiet because nobody is talking about APC right now. They're not, the fight is between two of them right now. So that has been the calculation. The mistake they made, they didn't envisage this coming. If they had envisaged that this was going to turn out, they would have think properly and be proactive. Now, APC is just sitting quietly and watching the drama between the two supposed words for me. They won, but now and two of them are fighting. And APC is quiet. And this is what is going to happen. When you say, you projected that it will not be the same into 2020 election, I beg to disagree. Because I don't see, I'm not seeing it happening because we're talking about a sitting president at the moment. And you're talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. When it comes to political strategy and all that, how is it going to be possible? Buhari then and his people were edging him out. But he moved 3 weeks. The prime were in Abuja and he was able to be realistic because I don't want to sweet talk anything. It's clear what we're seeing today changes tomorrow. And I don't think it's going to happen. How? The man is just sitting down watching. Now there's a crisis within that same opposition. We're expecting things to be done differently. That's my fear. I'm not happy with the split. I don't like it because it's a repeat and we're heading in the same direction. No new, INEC is not, they're not even doing anything. No voter education, no new registration of, because a lot of people want to vote at this point. INEC is not doing that. And then who told you that there's going to be a level playing field? Who told you they're not interested? They're calculating already. Money is being moved here and there. Just watch.
Okay, Mr.
I like being realistic. Yes, I like being realistic. It will be moving.
Mr. Tony,
okay.
Mr. Tony, I like the fact that you're being realistic, and that's why I'm going to ask this question for you to further let the viewers out there know what you feel would have been a different playground that you were expecting from the opposition parties.
I was expecting, like right now, the opposition party supposed to be the ADC. Forget the bottlenecks and all the distraction from the ruling party, the court cases and all that. I would say, no matter what, it's about winning an election. And if you actually believe that the sole purpose of our gathering is to rescue Nigeria from the present state, they're supposed to put everything together. You know very well that things like this will happen. When you have Kwankwaso, you have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, you have Peter Obi, you have Rotimi Amechi, you have Rufai. Forget this, because definitely will come out someday. And others in one room. What do you expect? What do you expect? But the situation where everybody wants to run. This one, I want to be president. I want to be president. That's the problem. selfishness. But I was expecting a situation when they come together, they said, please, this is our focus. Please, let's lower our guards. How do we rescue? Nigeria should be the issue at that table. How do we rescue Nigeria from paying 1,500 naira for fuel or 1,400 naira for a liter of fuel, 8,400 naira for a kilogram of gas? I mean, the difficulty, Nigerians are currently facing, how do we rescue them? That should be the center point of the discussion. But I didn't see that. Now, moving from party A to B, the ruling party is still watching. And then they move to that NDC. Tell me what happens again. It's possible because we have almost 10 months to election. So it's possible they can still go there and cause that same crisis. So what happened? What's going to happen at that point? That's what I'm saying. So if you have stayed in this party and face whatever, that the president administration is going to throw at them, and see how they can work around it. Just the way they faced the courts. When their name was, the NWC was removed from their portal, they disagreed with the president and they said, we're going to go this way. Face it till the election comes. Be unified. Bring unity to the table and drop your ambition somewhere. I don't see how it's going to happen because it's going to happen again at NDC. Mark it. Today is what? 5th of May. Watch what's going to happen between now and next week in NDC.
Already
so
we have
how are we going to continue?
You
can't continue. Sit down, solve your problem. They're moving from... I don't know.
I see how you feel
it's
about
not about to
that.
be. It's but I don't know how we're going to be. Nigeria cannot be better if we continue to do politics this way. You know the person is sitting down. His life is about politics. So how are we going to... We can't rescue Nigeria. It's in my opinion, though.
Let's look at ideology and strategy. How significant is the role of political ideology versus strategy in this move? Just like he's saying, do you think it was a wrong move?
Well, like I said, a lot could have happened in the ADC that we don't know, because some of the things we are saying is based on some of the things we have had them say. And I want to believe that they didn't tell us in details. Don't forget that a part of the internal issues they have, I'm coming to your ideology, a part of the internal issues they have, they also have issues with the ruling party, with the kind of things they are throwing at them. The INEC is there, the court is there. Okay, now what we take for instance that, okay, the Supreme Court had eventually, okay, David back your court. We don't know the decision of the court. What if the court rule against them? They have to now move to appeal court. Time is also going. If they win in appeal court, the other people could also do the same. Before you know, they have to get to Supreme Court. The time is also not there for them. Because the whole idea for me on the ruling party, they don't want an opposition party, and they can do everything possible to ensure that it collapses. Now, internally, they also have their own issue. We have the heavyweights who are also in the same boat, fighting for the same tickets. And none of them is actually ready to come down for another.
So that's what Mr. Tony is saying.
Yes, no, I'm heading somewhere.
It's a personal thing. They're not looking at Nigeria at large.
Looking at Nigeria at large, but there's nothing we can do because Nigeria will have to go through a political party. The same Nigerians who are the real opposition this time around, they are the one feeling the heat of this whole thing. So the president himself by now should have known that the country is too hot for the people, for the citizen. If he doesn't know, then he's lying to himself. So forget about the issue of him saying that probably they are not seeing, when Nigerians are not seeing, or anybody that is not seeing what he's doing, they should probably give them an eyeglass. I'm sorry to say, with all humility, sometimes the eyeglass is true that people use expired. So he should have to probably check his own, because it's biting on us. For today,
Mr. Tony, does your eyeglass expire?
No, it doesn't. I don't need to wait.
You understand me? So these are some of the challenges. So when you are telling us that we need an eyeglass and we are feeling it directly, I think probably he has to probably change his own eyeglass too, so that we can create a balance. Maybe you'll be able to see what we are saying. So it is based on this. The ideology of Nigerians are formed. They needed somebody they can trust. They needed somebody that can be the doorway for them. Irrespective of who the person is. They've not tried it before. I've said it here before. The system went on for 4 years. After 4 years, we are not comfortable with you, we change. But the ideology of some of these people, particularly that of Obi. I'm not. You see, some line that thing because they feel like, okay, he's speaking their language and the rest. Why the others? They are seeing them that these guys have once been at this level. What have they actually come up with? Some of these problems that we even have, some of these crises, they were contributors of it at one point or the other. So this is where the ideology comes in. So Nigerians feel that this guy is in a better position to be able to drive the ideology considering his track record. But he himself too felt that, okay, if he's given the mandate, he will be able to do this. He has promised Nigeria that he can do it in 4 years. So he too have decided to move. After all, he had people who tell him, anywhere you go, we will go with you. And because he wants to also be in charge, like I said, the ideology of Nigerians, most of the Nigerians, let me use that word, particularly the young mind, and that of Peter will be somehow aligned. So they have the same ideology. So they don't mind the party condition, whatever the party stands for. They don't care about it. What they're after is, we have our man there. When he goes in, he will drive our cause. So I think that's where the matter is now.
Okay, when he goes in there, he will drive their cause. And we don't know if he can go in anywhere from what Mr. Tony is saying. I mean, but let's look at INEC's preparation and the expectation for the 2027 elections. Does this development influence INEC's preparations and expectations in 2027?
You see, when it comes to INEC, I don't have to open INEC. And I think I know that the Nigerians too don't believe in INEC, especially the present chairman, because he showed his hands too early. Nigerian cannot make headway in an election appoints an INEC chairman. Forget, even if they are preparing, we are seeing it. We know the answer.
But former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did it.
Yeah, but you just said it. Jonathan. You're talking about the present occupant of Aso Rock. He appoints, and then when Jonathan was even there, he did not appoint somebody from his region. He didn't appoint somebody from his region. But that is what we're seeing since Buhari came until now. That's what we are having. They call these people, they tell them, give them templates, you're going to be this, and then go announce it. Nigeria cannot work like that. The president INEC cannot do, they are not independent. Forget the I. INEC is not independent. They all told to the president. Everybody wants to see the president. He dictates to them. I mean, we cannot, they are not even prepared to make everybody for this. I mean, litigation here and there against political parties. I've not seen them say anything negative about APC. It's just the opposition all the time. So why is the preparedness? That's why I said, right now, what I was expecting that INEC should be doing is continuous registration, because I know a lot of people may want to vote. Not me. We definitely want to vote the coming election, because based on what you are seeing today, the present predicament of this country has propelled a lot of people to say, we're going to participate in the next election. We want to see maybe my vote will count. But again, my vote will count with INEC. It's not possible. But at least pretend to do something. We have no voter education. I remember even last, the former INEC executive, I remember this, is it Okoye? The guy was always on TV talking about voter, preparing people for election. You don't need to wait for 3 months to election before you must continue now. Continuous voter registration. You don't announce you're going to do it in 3 weeks' time. No, you walk into a local government, you register. There shouldn't be any ambiguity about it. That's when I will believe that we're actually preparing. Because we need to add to that number. We need to add to that number. So when people come out to vote in high number, it will be very difficult to rig. So they like it this way. So when you look at what's going on at the moment, you sit down all the time. It's about a movement from here, political, and this one is moving. They're paying us enough. I mean, okay, we have. What about those ones at the states? It's only to read the election results. I mean, we're not seeing anything.
Okay, in your view, is INEC prepared?
INEC is not prepared as far as I'm concerned, because everything shows, just like Mr. Tony has rightly said, you could see it. It's just about court cases, one particular issue and the other, just suppressing the opposition. So for me, INEC is not prepared, and they are not looking prepared. Rather, they look like people who are actually working with a template or a script that's already been handed over to them, you know, to ensure that probably the ruling party remain in power or the oppositions are not even there at all. So they look like people who are actually working with a script that's handed over.
Okay, quickly, in your views, does this strengthen or weaken democratic competition in Nigeria?
Of course. Yes.
It weakens or strengthens?
It weakens. I mean, a situation whereby you don't want opposition, INEC is not prepared. Democracy is, you know, this is not democracy. This is civil rule, because democracy is supposed to be propelled by the people. But right now, what we're having is a one-man show. And it weakens opposition, it weakens democracy, it weakens anything that weakens opposition, participation in politics, in the governance of a nation, weakens democracy. And that is what the other day I saw the president say, I'm a Democrat. How can we, I mean, it's not too good. Nothing is working.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like you said, it weakens democracy, and it will keep weakening it if something is not actually done, because that's the state we are in now. Nigerians are, as we are talking now, even right in the studio, we are not even sure of the next move. Just like we're saying now, we are thinking about, okay, NDC, we are looking at ADC, but again, when you check the factors, you will know that they are also weakened. So it's like everything still revolves around, you know, INEC template that they are running with, and which is really, really for and one-man show that is actually taking place. Because, like he said, we've never had INEC had an issue with the ruling party till date, whether in pretense or in sincerity. It's always a pass. But the opposition go to court, either they are accusing you of this or they are fighting you over this. They just want issue or the other. And the reason for all this is just to keep weakening them. Now you could see that the coalition now is broken. That is part of their dream. And then they're having internal issues. These are part of the dream. And as long as it continues, it weakens it. But I would like to say that Nigerians should still stay on.
I'm optimistic, yeah. I believe, I pray.
So I wanted one last word from you for
I'm
Nigerians.
optimistic. I pray things change maybe tomorrow. Yeah.
You have the hope that change.
Definitely, things will change. Nigeria will be better than this.
I also believe that things will change. The dust will definitely settle. Definitely.
Okay. Hopefully the dust will settle, and hopefully will be better in time to come. That's every Nigerian's prayer and every Nigerian's wish. But Nigerians are also wishing they have a credible opposition party, and we hope this happens in the forthcoming elections. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming today. Time always runs fast. I don't know why. Mr. Tony, it's you that is running the time. With you, time always runs very fast. Anyway, thank you for finding time to come and discuss Nigeria.
A beautiful morning. Welcome to the news update on Independent Television. I am Ikoi Davis. At least 130 Nigerians have registered for voluntary evacuation from South Africa amid rising tensions linked to anti-foreigner protests. Minister of Foreign Affairs Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu disclosed this in a situation report, noting that the exercise is part of measures to safeguard Nigerians abroad. She said the directive followed President Bola Tinubu's instruction for closer monitoring and protection of Nigerian citizens. The minister also confirmed that Nigeria has engaged South African authorities diplomatically over the situation. The development comes amid renewed protests in cities including Pretoria and Johannesburg, raising concerns over the safety of foreign nationals. 2 Nigerian deaths linked to security-related incidents. Residents of Catholic Charismatic Road off Ekewan Road in Benin City have commended Governor Monday Okpebholo for initiating critical infrastructure projects across Edo South Senatorial District. The residents turned out in their numbers on Sunday evening to appreciate Governor Pevolo during an inspection of the road, which is now nearing completion. Government House correspondent Kingsley Uchegbo has details.
The 1.1-kilometer Catholic Charismatic Renewal Road in Ubuoko, along with its associated drainage system, designed to address years of flooding in the area, is one of the signature projects of the Senator Monday Okpebholo administration, bringing relief to residents of the community. With about 90% of the project completed, the first section of the road has been delivered using concrete pavement technology, while the remaining stretch has been asphalted. The once flood-prone area has now been transformed with the construction of side drains as well as dual water retention ponds designed to manage and evacuate stormwater effectively. For Chief Joseph Amadasun, who relocated from Lagos 4 years ago, the quality of work in the area can be compared to that of a former Lagos State Governor, Lateef Jakonde. Other residents also expressed appreciation for Governor Okpebholo's infrastructure development efforts in the area.
This place has been a very dirty trap. No road here, and I commend his efforts. He's working like my former governor at Lagos State, which we call Baba Kekere. That is Jakende. I love his way of working.
They live in Obioko more than 7 years, and we are facing erosion challenge. But now we have thanked the Edo State Governor for the making of this erosion control project. We are very happy, and the whole community are very happy for this work.
Governor Okpebholo also inspected ongoing construction work at various sections along the Benin Supply Road before making a brief stop at the Christ Embassy campground to assess drainage works aimed at addressing flooding challenges along parts of the corridor. From Benin, Kingsley Uchegbo, ITV News.
A man identified as Francis Dua has been arrested by the police in Benin City over alleged sexual exploitation and circulation of explicit content involving multiple individuals. Edo State Police Command says the suspect has since been charged to court. Crime correspondent Jolade Ocho reports.
The suspect, 32-year-old Francis Dua, was arrested in Benin City over allegations bordering on sexual exploitation, the production and circulation of explicit content involving unsuspecting individuals. According to the police public relations officer, ASP Eno Ikoyedem, the suspect allegedly lured female victims to his residence in Iyekogba Estate under the guise of arranged meetings where they were allegedly exploited while recordings were made without consent. It was alleged that the suspect collaborated with other male individuals who participated in recording and circulating the explicit materials for financial gain. ASP Eno said the operation followed a distress call from residents over suspicious activities and loud noises in the apartment, leading to a raid by operatives. During the operations, the victims were rescued and the suspect was arrested. ASP Eno said investigations revealed that the suspect also sexually exploited one of the male individuals who participated in recording and exploiting the female victim.
Francis happens to be a homosexual who lures victims to his house, and he will set up a camera, uses a knife to threaten them and make adult content where he posts them online and makes money. So he was arrested and he confessed to this, and a lot of exhibits were recovered, including some adult toys which he uses to forcefully engage these victims sexually. His mobile phones were recovered and some laptops where he's in the habit of doing these things.
ASP Eno Ikoyedem confirmed that the suspect has been charged to court, urging youth to invest their time in more legal money-making scheme. From Benin, Jola Deojo, ITV News.
Management and staff of independent television and radio have been encouraged to embrace a culture of thanksgiving and spiritual awareness as a means of achieving success and building resilience in challenging times. This message was delivered by the senior pastor of His Glory Royal Assembly International, Dr. Emeka Ekuga, during the station's monthly prayer meeting for the month of May, held at St. Gabriel Hall, Uluku, Benin City. The report, filed by Shalom Ongara, is presented by Oluwafemi Farayola.
It was a moment of deep reflection and spiritual renewal as management and staff of Independent Television and Radio gathered for their monthly prayer meeting. The atmosphere was filled with worship, prayers, and words of exhortation aimed at strengthening faith and unity across departments. In his opening remarks, the Managing Director, ITV and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, encouraged staff to ensure excellence in their various duties. He highlighted the importance of gratitude, describing Thanksgiving as a key driver of both personal development and organizational growth.
Please, you can't be like me to my God, and I can't be like you to your God. But we can. Come under this umbrella and appreciate God. Please, let's thank God. Let's appreciate Him for the little we have so that we can do more for us. My dear colleagues, spiritually, see the cup as half full than as half empty.
In a sermon, Dr. Emeka Ekuha urged staff to remain spiritually conscious, noting that such awareness is essential for overcoming marital challenges.
We should be vigilant in the nation where we belong, in the communities where we belong. There are battles, we call it known and unknown battles. And these battles, if you are not vigilant, you won't be able to win them.
A major highlight of the event was the presentation of a promotion letter by the Managing Director, Elvis Obaseki, to Thomas Sado, who was elevated to the position of Manager, News and Current Affairs Department.
On behalf of management and for the work you are doing, you are now a manager, News and Current Affairs. I don't know when she really feel me to say what I have in the inside of me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
In a vote of thanks, the Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Lady Celerina Ojomo, expressed appreciation to the guest preacher and commended staff for their continued dedication and commitment.
We are grateful. I'm so glad hearing from you one-on-one. You have touched me very much today. May the oil of anointing upon you never run dry. In the name of Jesus. Thank you for coming.
The prayer meeting was attended by top management staff, including the Director, Independent Radio, Dr. Dan Omosuzi, General Manager, Group Commercial Services, Mrs. Odun Balogun, General Manager, Special Duties, Abiodun Mudashiru, Deputy General Manager, Programs Division, Dr. Sonny Duke Okosun, and Assistant General Manager, News and Current Affairs, Eosa Agbolahan, among others. Oluwafemi Farayola, ITV News.
And this is where we call it a wrap on the news update at this time. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ehud Davis. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. I am Nuoluwa Stevens. Better still call me your social media butterfly. Officially welcoming you to the city that never sleeps, just like Lagos, the social media streets. Well, today we begin in Abuja, where hashtag Justice for Justice Crack has been trending online, as we did see in the news that the Department of State Services DSS arraigned a Nigerian blogger and activist, Justice Mark Chidebere, popularly known as Justice Crack, before the Federal High Court in Abuja over allegations of incitement. Well, according to reports, immediately after the arraignment yesterday, the activist was taken back to DSS custody, raising fresh concerns about continued detention. The courtroom was reportedly packed with security operatives and observers, while journalists were prevented from gaining access to cover the proceedings. Now, let's take a feel at how it all went down yesterday in Abuja. Take a look.
We not go green. We not go green. Free justice crack. We not go green. Free justice crack. Free justice crack. Free justice crack. Nigeria is free. Free justice crack. DSS they can go. They could have failed. Free justice crack. See justice crack. See justice crack. See justice crack. See justice crack. Justice, nothing will happen. Free justice crack. Free justice crack. Free justice crack. Free justice crack. Free justice.
Well, let's look at the moment when Omoyele Sowore actually spoke to one of the officials right there in the federal government. Take a look.
That's my own decision. I won't ask anybody to go and do what. No, it doesn't run like that.
But you know, as the Minister of Justice, it's your duty to do justice from wherever you are. Whether you are in Paris, because you are the Minister of Justice, or the Federation of Nigeria, you are the Attorney General of the Federation. If it warrants that you take a decision that saves someone's life, are you saying you will not take decision because you are not in town?
This one does not affect. You know, when you talk of life, everybody is like, even breathing and everything is life. You understand what I'm saying? But on this occasion, I don't see the need for it to take any decision on that merely because I've heard one side, I've not heard the other side. So you have to wait till Wednesday, if need be. That's my decision. I'm sorry, Mr. Sowore.
Well, we disagree with you, Minister, but I've heard you.
Well, wondering what really is going on. Justice Crack, an activist just like Randy Peter and the likes, was arrested because of a viral video that he made that went viral over the state of food that a particular section of the security outfits receive in Nigeria, and that's sparked a lot of reactions, and now we're seeing more reactions from the DSS. But let's move over to the comment section and see what you have been saying on this trending story. We'll start off with this user who wrote on X, "Freedom of speech does not guarantee freedom after speech. May God have mercy on us in Nigeria." Another user reacting to this one wrote, let's see what we have next. This user says, "Instead of working on issues the people complain about, they would want to suppress the issues by oppressing or arresting the complainant. How can we grow greater in such ways?" Okay, well, still reacting to this story, this user wrote on X, "Not just they give more fame to all these content creators. That's simply what the government is doing." Now, away from that, we move over to the University of Cross River, where a grieved student of the University of Cross River yesterday grounded part of Calabar in a violent protest following following the death of 3 of their colleagues and the driver they alleged died due to negligence at the General Hospital in Calabar. Now, the protest, which began from the university campus along Mary Celeste Avenue, quickly escalated by students marched in large numbers, blocking major roads, vandalizing signages, and heading straight to the hospital before proceeding to the governor's office. Now, we also saw a viral moment of when the police actually tear gas students right there in the school. Take a look. Now let's take a listen to a viral video of one of the students explaining what actually led to the protest. Take a listen.
I'm saying this with a heavy heart because when that incident took place, I went there around 11 o'clock to foresee everything myself. I was supposed to be in that bus also, but I don't know what happened. I did not travel that very day. The government killed our comrades. Yes. Lucky was not dead. Yes. There was only one person that died in that incident. They carried Lucky, they left about 4 hospitals. Down to teaching hospital. The teaching hospital rejected him. They rejected him that there was no space. I was there. We took them to General Hospital. The General Hospital, there was no space.
Well, we also had a viral moment online of persons saying right there at the scene yesterday of the protest, police allegedly shot students. But let's have the press release that was brought out last night from the Cross River State Police Command saying that there was nothing like that. Nobody actually was shot by the police. If we could have that on, yes, we had that yesterday on X. Now, moving over to reactions and the tweet on the story. This user wrote on X, this one says, why tear gassing peaceful protesters? Where did they get this idea from? Interesting. Another user wrote on X, deploying police on students over protest? Nigeria, why? Well, still on the story, this user says, this is a very disturbing situation. Absolutely. Now, we hope that things get better and the situation is actually, calm in that school. But moving on, let's talk politics now. Now, this time around, the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has said something really interesting as he has expressed confidence that the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, will produce Nigeria's next president in the 2027 general election. Now, Makinde made the assertion on Monday while addressing party members and stakeholders at the 103rd National Executive Committee meeting of the PDP faction held in Abuja. Let's take a listen.
But you know what? We should write it down. This gathering will produce House of Assembly members, will produce House of Reps members, will produce senators, will produce governors, and will produce the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well, do you believe this interesting statement? Let's see what you have been saying online. For some persons, it's the amen. For me, like it's one kind of prayer. Politics. Now, this user wrote on X, Makinde and Turakai have nothing to lose. Wike is just facing nightmare. Push me, I push you. Whatever that means, really. Another user on X wrote, this one says, Makinde, as much as I like you, this can only happen in your dreams, sir. Ouch. Well, still in this bit, this user wrote, this Seyi Makinde PDP is really funny. Are they trying to fool ignorant members of your party or what? What is the meaning of all this posturing? Interesting. Well, moving away from that, let's go over to Ogun State. Yes, Ogun State, where the first batch of the 345 Muslim pilgrims from Ogun State has safely arrived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the 2026 Hajj exercise, marking a historic milestone for the state's aviation and pilgrimage operations. Now, video circulating currently online was when the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, was praying for them just before takeoff in Yoruba and English. Take a listen.
Pilgrims that are being airlifted from Gateway International Airport direct to Saudi Arabia. Not only are you the first set of pilgrims that are going from Gateway Airport to Saudi, you are the first set of passengers that are traveling international from this airport. And you are boarding the largest aircraft that has ever landed at this airport. Eko Orire, Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Salu Anabi Karim, Salu Anabi Mustafa, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ọlọ́run tó bá mú gbogbo àdúrà yìí lọ sílé àṣẹ tí ó fi ní àǹfààní láti ṣe hajj ọdún yìí. Ọlọ́run náà á jẹ́ kí bàálù yìí á gbéra láyọ̀, á fò láyọ̀, á gúnlẹ̀ láyọ̀. Ọlọ́run á mú gbogbo àdúrà tó máa ṣe ní hajj náà á mú lọ sílé àṣẹ.
Well, and the church says, Ami. Now reacting to these online, let's see what you have been saying. This user wrote on X. Let's have our first tweet if we can. This one says, I would have applauded you if it were Ogun youth traveling to China, JACPA or wherever on state education sponsored program. Why are we sending Christians and Muslims abroad for pilgrimage? It doesn't change their status. Many return home to continue wallowing in poverty. Another user still reacting to this story says, no matter the good gesture, people will complain. Do your best and leave the best for posterity. You can't satisfy Nigerians. Okay, we're still in this beat. This user wrote, so how does that improve the fortune of Ogun indigenes? Stop this wasteful venture now. Religion is private and personal, not a collective venture. Okay, well, interestingly, this is how we get a wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens, and on behalf of the team right here in Edo State and also in Abuja and Lagos, we'll see you again tomorrow. Please stay safe and goodbye.